everyone. Welcome to the Habibis podcast. Three game developers drinking good herb tea. I'm your host for today, Fauzi Mesmar.
I'm Rami Ismail.
And now Muhammad Darius.
Oh man, it's been hot. Rami, has your air-conditioned bed
It's
arrived?
too warm. Yes, it did. Oh my god, I would have melted. It's such a big. You know because I have AC and AC is nice, but the thing about AC is it's if you want to sleep under a blanket, it's like really kind of you're under the blanket, so it's still warm. It still gets warm, and this AC is actually in the bed. So even if you're under the blanket, it's still cold. It's still nice. It's still pleasant, and it could also heat. It's great.
I need to try this stuff out.
I don't think I would. It's the greatest thing.
I just want to find a floor model somewhere and just like try all the settings.
It made me very happy.
Sounds like sci-fi.
I remember there was this like one of the earlier companies I worked at in Jordan. The AC in the design room broke down. So like every 2 minutes, somebody would come over and be like, Fauzi, it's Shob. Fauzi, Shob. It's like, it's hot. Fauzi, Shob. Fauzi, Shob. It's like we didn't have any complaints division. So I just had people coming over just telling me it's hot on repeat. Right. and it feels like it's a topic of conversation.
You were
right
the
now
complaint department, basically.
I was supposed to do a rain dance or something.
Right. Fauzi, fix it. And you're like, if I fix it, my car breaks down.
It's one or the other. It has to be balanced.
The only way I got to the office was like in like moderate heat with no rain. Other than that, I'm working remotely.
No, it's been nice. It's a weird device. You fill it with water and then it pumps water around the sort of like this layer that goes under your sheets.
Wow.
So it's nice. Yeah, it just spreads cold and it's actually made in such a way that you could have two of them next to each other for if you have two different people sleeping in a bed. So you also don't have to argue about how warm the bed is or like whatever. Yeah,
that's
it's
amazing.
Brilliant.
I didn't even think about that as a feature. That must have come up in playtesting. Testing. Sorry,
Sleep
I have
testing.
games on the brain. Sleep testing.
In the bed industry, they refer to it as snooze testing.
Snooze.
I would like to do some snooze testing. That sounds great. No, the heat is making me very sleepy. It's not even the heat; it's the humidity that's making me sleepy. It's it's been a week. It's been a week
for sure.
Good stuff happened this week as well.
Yeah.
Right. What did you do?
I played another new old game. It seems like it's what I'm doing this the past couple of months. So a new old Zelda game came out, Skyward Sword HD on the Switch.
Okay.
So I thought I want to give it a go.
So are you a fan?
So that's the thing.
Okay.
And that's like an opinion I usually get a bunch of hate about. I kind of really like Skyward Sword.
No.
I think it's a really, really good game. I'm a Skyward Sword apologist. I am telling you, man.
I'm going to get you that on a t-shirt, Jaffozi.
Apologist.
What is okay? You're going to have to explain this to me.
Mm-hmm. So I think Skyward Sword has the best dungeons in the series. There's some really cool stuff in that game. Like there's the time travel stuff that's been super cool. I don't know if you guys remember. There's like the orb and in the cart or in the ship, and like when you smash it, the area around the orb goes back in time, whereas everybody else stays in the present. And as you move it around, then you start to see how things are, you see like how things are going to different timelines. That's a very cool mechanic, and they've like made an amazing dungeon with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Skyward Sword is filled with like brilliant moments.
I've never played Skyward Sword. Would you Fauzi? You definitely would recommend it. Rami, would you recommend it too?
I mean, if you haven't played it, you might as well play it. But I'm not going to say that this is like a great Zelda game.
Okay.
It's a Zelda game with great moments, if anything.
Okay.
I think Rami's review is spot on. So I'm a huge Zelda fan. I love Zelda games. I enjoyed Skyward Sword, but this is why I'm a Skyward Sword apologist. It's kind of like I'm a U2 apologist. I love U2, but I need to I can't love Bono. It's the same thing. I like the music. I don't necessarily like the people. I like Skyward Sword. I really like some of the mechanics. I really like some of the ideas. But there are some very frustrating moments in that game.
He doesn't like the Bono.
I don't like the Bono of the Legend of Zelda, basically. But it has a lot of really awesome moments, and also motion controls are infuriating sometimes, and it pisses people off. I totally get that. But the game, for the design of what this game was supposed to achieve, I found that it was really good. It really made you feel like you're swinging around a sword. All the shortcomings that the game suffered from was mostly because of the shortcomings of the controller itself. So the recalibration was a little bit annoying, or it doesn't always follow your motion, or the animation kind of jitters a bit because it didn't follow the motion control. It felt for me that the hardware kind of held the design back rather than the other way around. That's one of the things I really like about Skyward Sword.
At the same time, you could argue that the design was just they should have tested that with the hardware, but they didn't. I think they pushed the hardware harder than they should have, right?
Yeah, I don't know what you think about this, but personally, me, I don't think I want a motion controlled Zelda game. When I looked at when I played, was it No More Heroes? I think No More Heroes is exactly the amount of sword wielding that I want out of a Wiimote. It's you're button mashing, well, not button mashing, but you're playing with the controller, and then just the finishing move is like a swipe, and then you go back to playing with a controller. It might be subjective.
I'm just happy that before you've played Skyward Sword, you're already giving Skyward Sword grief for its mechanics. This is good.
I played Red Steel briefly, for example, and Red Steel was also a game where it's hey, you're going to have swords and they're going to be mapped to the Wiimotes or the move or whatever it was, and I felt the same thing. After a while, the novelty wears off, and I'm like, what would be more convenient than this if these buttons were on a controller that I could just hold comfortably on my lap and play that way. And I'm not saying every game has to be like that. Beat Saber does it perfectly. It's that's the type of game it is. But I don't after the novelty wears off of motion controls, one-to-one motion controls. I don't see a lot of value in it personally. It's a personal opinion.
So you're in luck, Osama, because this game on the Switch, you don't need to use motion controls almost at all. So you can use the other stick instead of the motion control, and it can still try to measure the angle of the sword swings and stuff like that. And you can use the Joy-Con still and use the motion control if you want to play the game how it's intended to be played, and that's all good. But I agree with the things that you said about. Some of the early motion control games did not really get that right, but it was early motion controls. These things were new. The technology was there. People we were trying to explore that as a medium. And I think of all the games that tried to explore push it all the way. Really, I think Skyward Sword did it the best in my eyes. Especially we're talking Wii here, right? This is. What is it? 2011? Skyward Sword initially came out, so it's been a long time. I'm enjoying going down that memory lane. I'm not sure if I'm gonna end up playing the entire game again. It was cool to kind of play 10 to 12 hours of Zelda again. The music is phenomenal. I love it. The characters, the art style are wonderful. It's HD now, and it's exactly how you remember it, but not exactly how it's not pixelated or how it was, and all of that.
Okay. Well, Fuzzy went Skyward. I think his connection just dropped. That's how exciting. That's how exciting Zelda is for him. So I didn't play many video games, which is starting to become kind of a trend for me the last few weeks. I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's that much exciting stuff to play for me. A lot of what I'm playing is stuff that is going to come out in the future, like just preview builds or whatever. So I can't really talk about those. But I don't know. Like, I've obviously, like, the big thing for me this week was Loki. Loki ended, which yeah, it was.
What an ending, huh?
Yeah, they had to stick the landing on this one because I feel like with Falcon and the Winter Soldier and with WandaVision, both, they kind of like didn't stick the landing.
Yeah.
So they had to, right? This is like your third attempt, 3 strikes is out. I was losing faith that any of these series would end in a satisfying way, and I was just really worried. And I think I mentioned it last week. I was just really worried that there would be a big fight scene and that would be it, right?
Yeah.
And instead we get an episode with like, what, 20 seconds of fighting?
Yeah, just about.
And the rest is just a chat.
But it was what a chat it was,
What
right?
a chat! What a characters! What a use of those characters and their relation and their trust of each other and their distrust of each other and the sort of like asymmetrical like knowledge that they have. Like what a wonderfully executed, what a tense episode for having no fighting in it at all, right?
I know, because like there was a lot of, I mean, a lot was at stake.
Right.
Literally everything was at stake. So I saw the thought process that went in their faces, in their heads. Like, this is like whatever decision they were going to make was going to have huge repercussions. And you felt that. You felt that
Yeah.
they were just like, they both had different motivations at that point. Their motivations split. And by both, I mean the two Lokis, right?
Right. Yeah.
The Sylvia Loki.
Just incredibly well acted, incredibly well done, incredibly well resolved.
Yes.
And yeah, it you know, I've seen a lot of chatter on the internet about, well, it didn't like resolve, right? It's like the story isn't done yet. I'm okay with that. I'm not watching the MCU to end every story immediately.
Yep.
I'm more than okay with seeing how this plays out and affects the larger MCU. But what a wonderful, what a gorgeous episode as well, right? Like from the opening shot all the way through to like the final seconds of the episode.
Yeah.
Camera work and just the general colors, the like framing, the conversation. There's the very slow zoom in on the person they're talking to and the zoom back out of the person they're talking to. Yeah, just incredibly well done.
Absolutely.
I was very impressed.
I was as well. That one episode rivaled so many MCU movies in intensity.
Yeah, and without violence. I think that is really the thing that, like, there was, yes, it escalated to violence like once or twice, but like overall,
yes,
it was just a chat.
Yes,
exercise in good dialogue, I think. And some really interesting lines as well. Like, yeah, you sort of have like Loki sort of summarizes the conflict that has arisen at some point with 2 sentences that are, you know, they're a little on the nose. They're like really explaining what the conflict is, but it's delivered in such a way that it still feels genuine. You know, the people who are catching on the subtext, they get it sort of like reinforced, and the people who aren't catching up on the subtext, they're getting it explained to them. Like they walked such a good line.
It was masterfully done.
Fun. What a fun series.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so eager to see where they take it in season 2.
It's going to be a while now, right? Yeah. Before more Loki.
I believe it's next year, right? Same time next year?
I don't know.
I don't know. They didn't announce it, but that's my expectation.
For now, I guess this story will continue in the MCU at large because that's a big MCU shift. So,
yeah,
curious to see. We talked about Black Widow, right?
Yes, we did. We did that last year.
Last week. So I can't talk about that. I didn't play many games. No, I bought what's it called? I reserved a Steam Deck.
Ooh, so did I.
Oh, nice.
So which version? Which model did you reserve?
I went for the top end one.
Me too. And did you also get your date delayed?
I don't
or
know.
did
It said
that?
Q1.
Okay, so this is what happened to me as well when I started the process, because everybody tried to reserve it at about
Right.
the same time. When I started the process, when I clicked on the link the first time, it said that it was going to be Q4 2021 this year, and
Right.
then by the time I actually finished it, which was about an hour and a half later through multiple errors and issues, it had shifted to Q1 2022,
Right.
and I'm actually curious, is it like, did they have a few, like a certain number that were at Q4, and then if you didn't make it in time, you were at Q1 and then Q2 and then Q3, like for next year? Or
Maybe.
did they just like come up like the same day and say, we're not going to make it, we're just going to push it? I'm curious if
Yeah,
anybody got confirmed for Q4.
I'm not sure. Mine was at Q1 when I ordered it. I
I
saw
see.
all the fighting over it, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna wait until the servers work. So like 4 hours later, I checked back, and it was just Q1.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm curious about the device.
Me
It's an
too.
interest. It's an interesting segment of the market, right? Because there's already devices in it, sort of like portable computers. Like it already exists. The Switch-like PC already exists.
Yep.
Valve jumping into it is obviously sort of like that's a big deal.
It
That
is.
that that's sort of a game changer. It like sort of what's the word?
It's a little
Not
disruptive.
justifies, but it like
Yeah.
it creates faith in the segment, in the market segment.
Absolutely.
I got
So
interviewed a bunch of time about it, and people keep asking like, "What does this mean for the indie scene?" I'm like, "It means nothing for the indies. Like nothing changed for the indie scene. Like, why
yeah,
would anything
because
change for the indie scene?"
if your game supported controllers, you're going to have controller support
Right,
anyway. And if it didn't, you weren't going to add it for this necessarily
right.
anyway. So yeah,
So I'm a little confused as to why everybody thinks it's like a big deal on every possible level, but it's an
I
interesting device.
yeah, but I mean, I think it'll depend on how much market share this will take from the Switch. And to be honest, initially it's going to be tiny because they're Steam. Valve is whatever Valve is. It's not Nintendo. But will it become like? Will there be a target audience outside of the Steam fanboys? That are going to make this
Right.
a household
I don't know. I
device.
very strongly feel like if you are already locked into the Steam ecosystem, this thing makes sense.
Yeah,
If you're not already logged into the to the ecosystem, then it doesn't really make sense, right?
agreed, agreed.
I think the
So I
biggest
can. Oh,
concern for me is the memory. Like for the lowest price unit, it seems that the initial memory that you get for it, 64 gigs. That doesn't sound like much to me.
it's like
I
two
can't
games.
I can't even put Flight Simulator on that.
No.
For example,
What's the point?
Yeah, but I mean, they're going to have expanded storage. I assume they're going to allow you to use flash cards and maybe even replace the hard disk inside. I would
I'm
be
very
shocked if
excited
they
that
don't.
we've now reached the point where, on the one end, we have stuff loading off of SSDs so fast that we can load entire planets in seconds, and on the
Yeah,
other end, we've got stuff loading off of an SSD of a memory card. It's going well, y'all. Like this is going well. Like just more consistent hardware.
yeah.
It's gonna be great.
I'm like personally, I'm excited about it, but I almost have exactly the functionality of the Steam Deck already on my phone with my Kishi. The only
You
difference
what?
is okay. So do you know about the Razer Kishi?
I have one
It's like
myself.
an Android. Exactly. It's like, Android controller that grafts to your phone and makes it look like a slightly
Yeah,
smaller Nintendo Switch. I guess it may be the same size depending on how big your phone is. And you're able to play anything on it. I play xCloud games on it. I play Steam games on it. I can even play PlayStation games on it because you just remote desktop into it.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
You're streaming,
exactly.
so it's not local.
You can play some games local, like Android games that support controllers, but yeah, it's not the same. You are
Hmm.
streaming. Functionally, it's almost the same. Most of the games feel
Right.
about right. Like I could play first-person shooters to
I'll play some fighting games against you.
no, you cannot play fighting games with it at all. But that's the thing. That's the one biggest reason that I was interested in it is just to have those games locally. The games that I cannot play on my phone slash Kishi, but I can spend that much money on something like that. I was actually surprised to see how popular it was with other people. Um, Yeah, but it did find its audience. You crashed the servers. So.
Yeah, I think Steam, because so much of their service is public facing, I think they accidentally leaked how many got sold.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, let me see if I can find the numbers.
Oh, because it shows you how many people added it to their cart. Oh, I forgot about that.
wish list.
So here it is. The numbers are the queue for confirmed pre-orders exceeded 110,000 across 3 sales regions. That's only on the pricier SKU.
Okay.
So it doesn't account for the $3.99 version.
Wow.
This count is backed up by other users' image captures of sales data through the pre-order period's first 90 days boils down as follows. 512 gigabyte model, $649. 71,600, of which 55,000 came from North America. And 256 gigabyte model at $529, 33,000 units sold, of which 28,000 came from North America.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I did not expect that. Not on pre-orders on day one.
So yeah, they made a lot of $4.
That's true.
Whether people are going to keep those pre-orders is a different question, obviously, as time moves on. But for now, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to get it in my hands to see how it feels.
I mean,
I'm hesitant about the trackpads.
Right.
I want to know if they can actually replace a mouse, as they're saying it pretty much replaces a mouse. I'm hesitant. I want to get it in my hands and see if that's the truth.
For me, the last time I had a Steam device, it was the Steam PC.
Yes.
And that one caught on fire and burned out. So,
literally?
Like literally smoke came out of the thing.
Oh my God.
So I'm not 100%... I'm not 100% sure if I trust the, Steam hardware. But then again, the HTC Vive, that works well. Although I guess that's HTC. The Vive, is it the Steam? Who makes the Vive now? I don't even know anymore. I don't know what Valve anymore. I give up.
Yeah, I like the idea that there's trackpads on that thing. Like, from a hardware point of view and like a game developer, perspective, that is interesting for me because now you can play games on the go that you normally wouldn't have. Or also I feel like it adds an extra layer of precision to first-person shooters, potentially.
Absolutely.
They put the gyro back in, right?
It is that. The gyro is in. So the gyro and the touchpad, there's these extra levels of precision. I don't know how that would play, but I'm keen to try it out.
Mm-hmm.
The positioning of the control of the sticks I found to be a little bit odd. I thought they'd be a little bit higher than I would have expected.
That's true, but apparently the people who had it hands-on, they said it felt natural and comfortable. So
yeah, all the hands-on people said that they kind of liked it, so that's cool. Yeah. But yeah, I like that this also came out of nowhere. One day I opened Twitter, I'm like, oh, Valve announces a new console. Like, oh, this is what we're doing right now. We just announce consoles with a tweet, or we just hear about it on the day. There's no prior, build-up releases, on-site conferences.
To be fair, it's Valve. They could literally tweet an image of a duck and it will go viral.
That's true.
That's true. Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Right. Oh my god. Anyway,
we're done with Half-Life.
No more Half-Life.
So I played something. Do you want to hear about it?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I played a new game. New to me, actually. I don't know when the game came out. I can't tell on the itch page. But I played a game called Slice and Dice that I'm absolutely in love with. I was looking for something that would get me unhooked from Slay the Spire because on my phone, that's pretty much exclusively what I play most of the time. So Slice and Dice, what it is, it's an RPG die roller. Every character that you start with, and you start with a generic thief, warrior, kind of a defensive person, a healer, and a magician, they're represented by a die. You roll the die, and you get to re-roll whichever dice you want a few times. So each phase of the die, each face of the die has either an attack or a defensive move, etc. And then on the other side, you see the enemies, and then they give you their enemy intents. So they're like, who are they attacking? How much damage are they dealing? And then you could make a judgment based on that. Simple formula. We've seen it in board games countless times, but it's just so well executed. It's beautiful, it's simple, and it's addictive. I downloaded it yesterday, and I must have put in 4 hours already on it just from yesterday, just in between catching a little bit of time here and there. Highly recommended. I don't know if you're looking at screenshots right now of what it looks like. You'll see it's cute, but it's very, very simple. Like, you don't even see character animations. It's just the heads of the characters. If you lose a character, or sometimes even without losing, as rewards, you're able to pick up a new character. And they play completely differently. And sometimes they get really wacky. Like, you're able to get a vampire, or you're able to get someone with a boomerang. I forget what their actual title was. Different abilities, and that changes the gameplay completely. So far hooked. Absolutely love it. Highly recommend it.
I mean, I'll give it a go. I mean, I like Dicey Dungeons, and it sounds like it has something in common with that.
Yeah, I like Dicey Dungeons as well. I think I like this more.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see, because Dicey Dungeons I played for longer, so maybe there's a fall off on this one compared to the other one.
Right.
But the initial gameplay of this one, it onboarded me much faster than Dicey Dungeon.
Okay.
I enjoyed it quicker.
Okay. No, that sounds. I mean, I can use some new games. Like I said, I've just been stuck. Like I've been building this Lego. Did I tell you about the Lego?
You mentioned a little bit.
The Lego world map. I'm halfway now. Halfway. I just did Western Europe and West Africa, and I'm now starting back up north with the Eastern Nordics, and I'm working my way down. I think Egypt is tonight when I'm, now that we're recording. I think I'm building Egypt tonight.
Nice.
By the time this recording is out, it should either be done or close to done.
That's exciting. I can't wait to see it.
That's like 2 weeks worth of work.
It's so big. It makes no, like, I understand that it was meant to be big, and I understand that 11,000 pieces means it's big, but it's sitting here in the corner of the room behind me, like the half of it that I've built already, and it's big.
It sounds like it's the PS5.
Right. I'm pretty sure it gets bigger every time you look at it.
Right. Yeah. It keeps growing. But yeah, no, I don't know. Like I think if you put your PS5 next to this world map, the world map is gonna look big.
Yeah. What's the dimensions on this one? How many PS5 times how many PS5s?
I think it's probably. Let me see. It's probably like 1.5 to 2 PS5s high.
High.
If it's standing.
Wow.
Is your ceiling that high?
No, that's what I'm trying to see if I can get a second floor to my apartment. But
to accommodate it.
And it's if you put it horizontal, it's probably like 3-ish PlayStation 5s wide.
Wow.
That's really big.
Well, you need to move to Burj Khalifa, man, to fit that stuff.
Yeah, it might fit. Yeah, the PS5. What is it, like 40 centimeters? This thing. Yeah, I think it's 40.
I thought it was bigger than that.
Burj Khalifa is like seven PlayStations high, right? So
yeah, about 7. Yeah.
Don't exaggerate. 6.5.
Yeah, you don't have to say that. Yeah. But yeah, no. So it's 390 by 92 by 260 millimeters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 39 centimeters. This world map is 60 centimeters high and 1 meter and 4 centimeters wide. So
wow,
it's big.
Yeah,
you have a place for it. You're framing it, right? You're like
well, that's the thing. The frame is actually included in the Lego. You build the frame with Lego.
Oh wow, okay.
So that's gonna be cool. Yeah, that's been fun.
What are your plans for it once it's completed?
Put it on the wall.
Of course.
You know,
Yeah, but which room?
Oh, I think it's going to go in the living room because they actually give you some extra pieces where you can put little dots on where you've been.
Oh, do they give you enough for Rabbi? Or would you have to order more?
So I'm going to have to order some additional pieces.
Of course.
But I'm going to order some additional pieces.
Of course.
I think
you're not going to do
fun.
cities because that would be ridiculous. You're doing one per country, right?
I don't think the resolution is high enough to do per city in a lot of countries I've been to. But no, the intent is obviously if the country is large enough, I'm going to go by city.
Okay, that makes sense.
Like in the US, I can put a dot on the US, but like China
that's
or
not
Russia,
meaningful.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Rami did this thing in one GDC. Which year was that, Rami? Remind me. You had like a world map in like in front of the expo hall, and people were supposed to put dots on it for there's
for one reason to be
a development studio.
Oh, right.
Yeah, man, that was cool.
Yeah.
What year was that? 2018 was it?
Must have been 2018 or 2017. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. It was to make the point that game development is still too centralized, and that GDC is not an international conference.
Yeah.
In that way, right? Because everybody had to put their sticker up of where they came from, and then I took a photo of that world map, and I just erased everything except for the stickers, which were all red. So I just filtered the image for red. And at the start of my presentation, one reason to be, which was a presentation about people from around the world making video games, I would fly 6 people out from all around the world to come talk about what game development is like in their countries, right? And I started a presentation with that image of just the sticker, so you couldn't see it was a world map anymore. But if it was, if game development was truly global, you should be able to recognize the shape of the world map from the stickers. That just wasn't the case. It looked like a whole bunch of stickers at the top half of a thing, and then 7 stickers on the bottom half of the image. And then even then, it was like so centralized in like West and East US and Canada, and then a little bit in Europe, and then a bunch in China and Japan, and that was kind of it.
Yeah.
There was a little sticker for Australia, a little sticker for South America. A few stickers maybe for Brazil, maybe for Argentina, but that was about it.
Yeah.
It was unrecognizable. It was a fun way to make that point.
That was pretty cool. I remember that. Man, time flies. It's been a while. Yeah, it is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's been 4 years since that. Can you imagine? 2018 is 4 years ago.
How is that even possible?
I don't know. Years are getting shorter or longer or both.
Both.
Both
at the same time.
There's less time in a year, and then in hindsight they seem longer. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, we're like already in July. We're more done with 2021 than the other way around.
No, listen, I didn't need to hear that. Can we undo that sentence of the podcast? Can we go back?
Let me change the topic. So, Sama, you like dice games, huh? You
Yeah,
like to play games with dice and board games and stuff like that.
Yes, I do. I'm a big fan. I have a big collection of board games.
So is that something like, like growing up in the Middle East, board games and shisha like go hand in hand. It's like the thing you do once you you get off work, you go home, you have a meal, and then the boys pick you up, or like you go out with friends and like you're sitting in the cafe, you're having shisha, you're drinking like some juice, and then you're playing backgammon or chess or some kind of card game or something of the sort. Is that like where your board game stuff started? Because that was it for me, for sure.
So. Well, I definitely get chess from my father. My father loved chess and used to taught us when we were really young and played with us a lot. So when I went back to Iraq to visit my cousins, we definitely played chess. And the other one that I learned only in Iraq, I didn't learn it here, was Tarnib, which is a trick-taking card game. It kind of similar to Rummy in the West, but it's not the same. The rules are still pretty different. But if you know how to play Rummy, you know.
I almost went. What did you call me? I forgot about Rummy.
But yeah, so it's similar in a sense, right? But if you've played a trick card taking game, you can pick up the nuances and the rules a lot.
I feel that it's closer to like a Bridge or Hearts than it is to Rummy in some way.
That's true, actually. You're right. It is closer to Bridge or Hearts. I didn't usually play Bridge or Hearts when I was young, so I didn't know them that well. Rummy is actually closer to Mahjong, I think. It's all blurring into into one big card game. But
Rami
yeah,
is
like
closer to Mahjong.
It's
Mahjong,
where I like
I
to
think
hang
that's
out.
true.
Rami likes to hang out.
But that's the
all
thing
time.
with. Okay, that took me a sec. Yeah, but Tarnib is taken really seriously. There's an art to it, the art of the tell. And if you don't play ball, it's really hard to find a partner. Even with my cousins who are playing nice with the Canadian cousin who's coming from abroad, even them, you could tell they're like, okay, you lost the bet. You partner with us, that kind of thing. I got pretty good pretty fast, but initially when I started playing, it's a staple over there, right?
Yeah, man, absolutely. It's huge also in Jordan. I've seen fights start because of Tarnib or because somebody didn't mark the right color or mark the right color in a game in which they shouldn't have.
Yes.
And, partners that didn't step up in the right way. And like, people offering somebody else as a handicap. So like, you play with this person, and if you win, then you're the true Tarnib champ or something of the sort.
I love it. That's so insulting.
It's so insulting. We have a variation of Tarnib in Jordan. It's called tricks.
Yeah.
It is similar, but like instead of like, in Tarnib, whenever you take a tick, you add points, right?
Yes.
And in tricks, there's a lot more nuance and complications to it. But generally, you don't want to take ticks because every time you take one, you lose points.
Oh, okay. So it's reverse Tarnib.
Exactly. So almost everybody's in the negative, and you try to be the positive. So like, it's divided into 4 kingdoms, and then every player starts a kingdom. And unlike Tarnib, it's a solo game. It's not a team game. So it's every person for themselves. And then when it's your kingdom, you get to choose one of 5 game modes. One is like the King of Hearts. One is Queens. One is Diamonds. One is, I don't know if there's a word for it. We call it tiltush in Jordanian, which I mean is ticks. And the other one is tricks. So for everything other than tricks, like if it's the King of Hearts, for example, if you take the tick that has the King of Hearts, then you lose 75 points. So you want to avoid that. The one with queens is that you don't want to eat a queen. Otherwise, you will lose 50 points or something like that.
So they have like wild rules built into the game itself. That's interesting.
It sounds like what's the Harry Potter broom game?
Quidditch.
It sounds like Quidditch.
It does. Have you ever read the rules of Quidditch? They make like no sense. It's like there's this game going on the side, but there's something completely unrelated to it on this side that scores you points 20 times more than the game can.
I've been in too many conversations with really strict Harry Potter fans that gave me incredible grief for daring to say that Quidditch makes no sense. Like I've never had my game design card more doubted than by, saying that I don't think Quidditch actually makes sense.
It really does not. I'm sorry, but whoever's saying, I'd love to get into this debate.
You take the Twitter people. I don't want anything to do with this. I'm okay.
I
if
challenge
anybody's
anyone.
listening to this and they're a big Harry Potter fan, please, like it's
no.
Osama Durius, not at THA Rami. Nothing to do with that. I don't know what we're talking about. Anyway,
I'm trying to be a good host again. So anyway, this game tricks that I've been telling you about.
Thank you, Fauzi. Rami, thank you for nothing, but Fauzi, thank you.
That King of Hearts thing that I was telling you about, like it's even so. When you're playing the King of Hearts, the player who has King of Hearts has the options to show it and say, "I have it," and put it on the table. And that means when you take it, then you take it doubled. So you lose 150 points instead of 75 points. And that game is so popular that it became like a what do you call it? A figment of speech. It's like a metaphor. So like when you say something like, and like something really bad happened to you, it'll be like, and just like that, أكلت شيخ كبة مدبل. I ate a King of Hearts that's doubled. So like if you had like I thought I studied really well for this exam and I went in and then I saw the test and yeah, so did you pass? No, man, no. I ate King of Hearts doubled.
Right.
That's like the opposite of success. It's like the worst thing that can happen to you. It's like a great misfortune has befell you.
That's amazing.
150 points.
That's
I
incredible.
love it.
Can you come back from losing 150 points? Is that even a possibility, or is it like you've lost?
You can, because the fifth game mode, which is tricks, it is like almost like you take turn playing solitaire.
I see.
So every person plays. So you start with the jack, and then you can play either a higher or lower card from the same suit, unless somebody plays another jack, and so forth. The player who puts down all of their cards first gets 200 points.
Huh.
Second, 150. Third, 100. So that's the only way you can gain points, and everything else you keep losing.
The person that grabs the snitch is like 750 points. There's a lot of
the person that goes last gets the 50 point. We have a term for it. It's we call toshi, which I struggle to translate, but it's like a very funny term to be like, this is like the person that just goes last, and it kind
of. Oh no, Osama, can you sing a song?
Well, no.
It was worth a try.
I mean, I can sing. I just can't sing well. There's a distinction between.
Okay, you sing a song poorly for me.
Do I have to? Can I pass?
Oh no, I have thousands back. You're saved.
I'm back to save you.
Thank you. You saved me twice today.
It's so funny today. Oh my god, man! Sorry about that.
It's the thing. No, it's okay. You were telling us what the name was for being last.
Tushy.
Oh yeah, that's the name for being last is Tushy. Have you guys heard of this term before?
I mean, Osama just said it.
Yes, it sounds like Tushy.
It's not Tushy. It's the ta. Like you two of all people should be able to say this.
Absolutely, Tushy. I gotcha.
Tushy. It's also like a figurative speech. If like so did you like you passed the test? Were you the first in the class? First, no, man. I was the Tushi, like the last in the race, and that also comes from like card games and that kind of culture.
It really feels like Mario Kart in card form, and you just play different mini games each time. The rules are like different each time. It's like, okay, which mini game are we playing now?
It's more like Mario Party.
Oh, what did I say?
You said Mario Kart.
No, I meant Mario Party. Sorry,
okay.
I messed that up.
So fun out, I never actually played Tornib.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to teach you.
I played Tola, I played Chaturang, like chess, but like I didn't. Tola Backgammon, but I never played Tornib.
We have to
so
fix
you're missing out. Yeah, absolutely. I have to refresh my memory, but did I tell you that I actually worked on a Tornib game?
There's a Tornib game?
So when I worked at a company called GE Media, we made games for airplanes. And one of our markets was obviously the Middle East, because people in the Middle East like to fly as well. And so they asked me to come up with a game that we made in like that would appeal to that target audience. And with that, like I knew Tarnib, so I'm like, hey, I can make this card game. It's probably pretty popular still over there because it's been popular for forever. And it actually was really popular. But when you make a game, the nuances of the rules that you have to learn are very different than when you just play a game. Because I didn't just have to know it enough to play it like I did with my cousins. I had to learn it well enough to design an AI that could play it convincingly. Right. And that was rough. But what that did is it kind of burnt me out on the game. I haven't played it since.
I can imagine.
So I haven't touched it in about 6 years, but it'll come back to me real quick.
You two should teach me. This is fun. Like, how's your Tola? Because I'm pretty sure I can beat you two at that.
I don't know how to play it. You have to teach me.
Okay.
Oh, so that sounds like an afternoon with some shishas in the making.
I'll skip the shisha, but I'm in on the board games.
Yeah.
Fauzi can triple shisha.
I'll have sugar cane juice.
Sugar cane juice. Cool. SMT. We'll make
And
it
some
work.
tea, of course.
Come
Of
on.
course. The tea before, the tea after. The tea's always.
First stop on the Habibis World Tour.
You've heard it here first, folks. The world tour. It's
So next week, we're going to have a bit of a different episode of the Habibis. In fact, next week, I'm going to continue a panel that I did at Games for Change last week with a group of wonderful guests from the Arab world.
Loads of Habibis.
It's more Habibis than ever before.
Habibis and Habibtis.
Maximum Habibi.
Had the Haboobs.
Yes. But it's going to be really exciting. We're going to talk about Arab representation in video games, and we will have Nuha, who we had on the show before, Son M, who is a writer and a director at I think Perfect Garbage is the name of the studio.
That's a great name.
We're going to have Sarah, who is at Focus Home, and Melik Faha, who is at UB. So we're going to continue that panel. If you're excited to hear a bit about that, tune in next week for a special episode of the Habibis. Just wanted to get that out there before we wrap
I'm
up.
excited for that one.
Yeah, same. Exciting stuff. So thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Habibi. We'll be back as the 3 Habibis in the week after next, but make sure you tune into for next week as well for the special Habibi extravaganza that Rami's putting together. And for the time being, talk to you later, I guess. Salam.
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 Talk to you later, Yafauzi. Talk to you later.
If you want to be accurate, at least say talk at you later.
Man, I'm completely off my game today, like with the internet lagging and stuff.
Yeah,
Oh
you
my
dropped
God.
for a bit. What?
I dropped the ball so many times. Talk to you later? Are you serious?
Like just the most Arab of outros there. It's like, talk to you later.
يا
Ciao,
maybe
babe.
بنشوفكم ماشي نشوفك خلاص
Should have gone with that one. Should have gone with that one.
Oh my
It's
God,
perfect.
it chokes so hard. I'm ending my whole podcast on the
I don't know
the
about
day
you.
of my hosting.
This is how I'm going to be ending our calls from now on. Just talk to you later. That's the trend now.
I'm just gonna record Osama saying salam and just replace every time he says talk to you later with salam.
Oh, yeah.